supportive of what we do, and I just want you guys to take in. He just got back from Tony Robbins. He might have told you that too. Was that part of your intro?
Yeah, all of it.
But you are in for a treat. So give it up for my brother from another, Ryan Bailey.
Good deal. So again, I'm excited, and all that stuff she said, I'm gonna give her $50 when this is done. So I appreciate that incredible introduction. And so yes, there was an accident on 23, some road work on 23. So apologize for any delays that I may have caused you all. I definitely value and respect your time. But how many folks excited tonight? Right, you gotta get excited and stay excited. Guess what? Great things happen when you get excited. In fact, if your parents didn't get excited, you wouldn't be here tonight. Does that make sense? And so, that makes perfect sense. He's like, and so, obviously, yes, at 19 years old, I did have an opportunity to join Primerica, one of the greatest and best decisions that I've ever made, because it introduced me to something that's near and dear to my heart, which is personal development. And so success is something you don't pursue, right? It's something you attract by becoming an attractive person. And so a lot of times we have to remember that we have to work harder on ourselves than we do what? On our businesses. How many folks know that? How many folks right now have a personal growth plan for 2017? Absolutely, I'd like to hear that. Very important. And so, 19 years old, I was introduced to Primerica. This is when I was introduced to a book called Think and Grow Rich. You all are familiar with that book?
Yes.
And I was full-time still in the military, United States Navy, and was involved in the military as a cryptologist, intelligence. And I was excited about my career in the military, but I always had this burning desire to be an entrepreneur. I knew that I didn't want to wake up to the alarm clock. Does that make sense? Right. I wanted to wake up when I was finished sleeping. How many folks like that lifestyle? And so, because of my burning desire, because I had a hunger, a deep down hunger, Clement Stone calls it a magnificent obsession. Right? Right? It's a burning desire, something that yearned inside of me. I said, listen, I want to be in a position where I can call my own shots. I want to be in a position where I can not just be average or play small or settle for being settle for mediocrity. But I wanted to be in a position where I can actually control my own destiny. How many folks would love to control their own destiny? Right? That's probably why you're in here tonight. Yes or yes? Yes. You can have that. And so, the journey in Primerica wasn't a long journey, but it was really that foundation for me to really start to work on myself and to be able to continue the path of personal development, to make sure that I focus on those 5 Ps in any business that I was a part of. And I'll elaborate a little bit more on the 5 Ps, but those 5 Ps for me is prospecting, presentations, personal development, perpetual production. I just have to say that instead of duplication, right? I got to keep the P going. Perpetual production, which is really duplication. And of course, that last P is promotion.
We like those.
And so I continue to work on myself because I believe that it's important for you to, all of us in the room have what we call a RAS, a reticular activating system. Anybody familiar with your RAS? How many have heard that before, RAS?
Anthony Robbins.
Right, absolutely. But it's really that, I heard it the first time from one of my mentors. His name was Holton Buggs. Really phenomenal guy. He was the #1 network marketer in the world, income earner. He was making $1.3 million a month. And this gentleman was a phenomenal individual, a really great influence on my life. And he shared with me about the RAS. He said, Ryan, you have to make sure that you go and unlearn, learn, and relearn some things in life. I say that again. You have to unlearn, then you have to go back and learn, and then relearn, right? Spaced repetition is the mother of all skills. And so it was important because Holton shared with me that in order for me to change, for things to change, I have to change. Don't wish it was easier, wish I was better. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. Right? Don't wish for less challenges, but wish for more what? Wisdom. Because you can't grow without a challenge. You can't create wealth without a challenge. All right? And so that is why I continue to work on myself, because once I became aware, and that's the first step to change, is awareness. You have to first and foremost be aware. Right? Because again, it's just like driving down the highway. If you don't know where you are, how are you going to ever know where you're going? It's that GPS, if you will. That GPS must know what is my starting point. That's my starting point. I have to be aware. I have to be aware of where I'm at right now in my life. And then once I take step one, which is awareness, which was it for me, I have to then accept it and say, man, there's some things that I've been taught that weren't true, right? Mm-hmm. Right? You want me to, I bet you guys had the same mom as me. How many of you guys believe that you're my brother and sister in the room? Oh, I like that. But my mama probably said the same thing that your mom said, right? My mom told me when I was growing up, she said, never talk to strangers. She said, money doesn't grow on trees. She said, always play it safe. Well, y'all had the same mom as me. Now watch this, watch this. So again, I had to become aware that I was programmed to think a certain way. Then I had to accept it, right? Accepting it is another phase of changing. And then the last phase is reconditioning. I had to recondition myself. I had to reprogram myself, right? There's 4 levels of competency. And again, I'm training, but I'm also sharing my story at the same time, because I want you to know that I ate, when you talk about reconditioning, I ate, I slept, every day. I mean, even today, I don't listen to the radio. My wife and I, we've been extremely blessed, and I'll go into that on the latter part, but everybody always asks me, Ryan, how did you create the success? And they always look at the end, but they don't remember that it was a process. It was a journey. It was really a process of unlearning, learning, and relearning, reconditioning my mind. I used to sleep with something called a pillow speaker. I still have it in my home whenever I feel myself in a rut, or feel like, because I still have ruts and I still go through situations where, you know, I'm feeling a little bit down, and I say, man, how do I pick myself up? I go back to the basics. Back to the basics. That's the pillow speaker is something I would put underneath my pillow, at the bottom of the pillow. You can buy it off of Amazon, and I would listen to The Magic of Believing at night. I would listen to Jim Rohn, Building Your Network Marketing Business. I would listen to David Schwartz, The Magic of Thinking Big. I would listen to my good friend, Mr. Jack Canfield, Chicken Soup for the Soul. I would listen to Bob Proctor talking about the paradigm shift of your mind and how to program your mind subconsciously. I would listen to Les Brown, where he talks about, you gotta be what? Hungry. I would listen to these things, and it would continue to recondition my mind, because I said, man, if it took 18 years for somebody to jack me up, I want to dump all that stuff, right, quickly. Because a lot of people, again, this is another lie that someone told you, garbage in, garbage out. It's not true. Garbage in, garbage stays. Your subconscious is always being programmed. So as I continue to go on, I've developed the desire to work on myself. I continue to be an entrepreneur. I became a full-time entrepreneur at 23 years old. I walked away from the military. And how many know my best month part-time was about $15,000 while I was in the military a month. But there's something that nobody taught me, was how to be a full-time entrepreneur. That was 2006. Fast forward a couple of years now, I'm full-time, and I want to share this with you because this might be vital for you. This is real. I'm going to be real tonight. Is that all right if I could be real with you?
Yeah.
Ryan Jr., is it all right if I be real with you tonight?
Yeah.
You see, I want to be a real friend, because real friends tell you what you need to know, not what you want to hear.
Right.
And so in my journey, when I was full-time, I think I wasn't prepared for the journey of being full-time. I was working so hard part-time to be able to walk away full-time. Then when I finally was full-time, I was like, man, what did I do with all this time? Right? And so there was some challenges along the way. There was some closet crying moments along the way. It wasn't an easy journey. I'm serious. There was my wife was looking, boy, you better go get a job. Boy, you better go get a job. I don't know why you think you're an entrepreneur thing, how this thing gonna work, and we gotta pay the bills. How many folks have a wife like mine, or a spouse like mine? Like, boy, you better give up on that little dream thing you got going on. I'm over here working, leaving at 5 in the morning, and you talking about you gonna make dreams happen? I know this is real. Can I be a real friend for you tonight? I have to, because I have to prepare you, because you're going to face some mental enemies, right? Rejection. You're going to face those things, not even from people. It's the rejection for the people that you don't know doesn't hurt as bad as from the people that you do know. But guess what? You can't get angry with those individuals. You know why? Because they're just talking to you from what they know, their own perspective. See, a person that has a job, or their parents has had a job their entire lives, they can't teach you how to own a business. Does that make sense? And so remember this, if you buy people's opinion, you buy their lifestyle. When you buy people's opinion, you buy their lifestyle. So be careful who you allow them to rent space in between your ears. Be careful who are you allowing to rent space in between your ears. Right? So what I learned how to do is I learned how to inoculate myself away from the people who just were talking about my problems, and I surrounded myself with people who had my answers. Right? The thing was is that I had to have some seasons of separation, even from my own father. My father, I think it was 08, I remember got out in 06, and I called him, I needed to borrow some money. He's like, man, I need a little cash. Man, again, my wife like, hey, you gotta pay that mortgage. Called my dad and said, man, been a slow month, Dad. Need a little change. He said, man, this was a hurting. He said, you still doing that little business thing, network marketing? He said, boy, didn't I tell you go get a job? And this is right here. This has hurt me to the core. Imagine this, fellas. He said, boy, you're not even a real man, because only real men get jobs. Well, that was the tough one, right? So guess what? For about 2 years, I probably spoke to my dad maybe 10 times, maybe once a month, just to make sure he was alive. But I separated myself. And again, you have to have a season of separation. Again, 2 years later, I was blessed to start earning a 6-figure income. Then I said, man, 6 figures is not enough. We started diversifying our portfolio, started several other businesses. We've been blessed today to now earn a 7-figure income, really almost a multiple 7-figure income profit, not just revenue. And it's been really a beautiful journey. My wife and I own a technology firm, Reveal Global Consulting. If you ever want to take a look at it, we're right there at revealgc.com. And we also own a company called Reveal Holdings. Reveal Global Consulting, she was like, wow, I mean, know that we do a lot of giving back. In fact, we give scholarships to churches, to students. Really, I really have a hunger to help fatherless kids, because I think fathers really are the foundation to make sure that this country continues to go in the direction that it should, because we have to restore that. Yes, moms, you're the champions. You're always going to be there, right? But I'm from the country, and we heard this. My mom used to tell me, "Mama's baby, daddy's maybe." But so mom will always be there. But I have especially, so we do a lot of giving. I believe in philanthropy. In fact, Rachel and I this Friday, we're supporting Children Deserve a Chance, and of course my good friend Jordan Steffi, who's helped my son to grow and to develop as a key salesman. You may not know him, but you will one day. He's a really good quarterback. But fast forward now today, life is so much greater. It's so much more fun. I mean, we'd have been, my wife and I now, again, she like, man, I'm glad you didn't get a job. People change. Look, she knows my wife. Right, she sees her on Facebook. She's like, oh, Bora. Right? Oh, they in the Maldives. Man, St. Lucia, they travel everywhere because we live life on our own terms now, but you have to be willing to pay the price. Right? Look, there's no shortcuts. The longest distance between 2 points is a shortcut. People ask me all the time because, again, it was until 2010 until we started making six figures. Remember, that's a long period from 19 years old, right? 2001, 2002, 2003 to then 2010. That's a period. Yes, that's a gap. You with me? But I had to work on myself. That's why you can never give up on the process. Okay, again, you have to continue to work on yourself, and always, even when it gets challenging, know that, and this is where I get passionate, and I hope you don't mind. I have
It's
to
all right,
say this.
Ryan.
I hope I don't offend anybody, but the kingdom of God is here for me. So even when I was going through my challenges, I knew my identity. I knew I was made in His likeness and in His image. Even when I was going through struggle, I knew that greater is He that is in me than he that is in the world. I knew that all things were possible to those that believe, right? It says, therefore when you pray, believe that you have received and you shall have it. And so the challenge is that a lot of times because of the outside forces, because of those I like to call them not enemies but frenemies, right? You're friends, but anyway, you have to make sure that you work constantly on your belief. That's really what personal development gives you, is belief. Because all things are possible to those that believe. But the challenge is we don't believe strong enough. Mr. Holton Buggs, my mentor, said I used to ask him, how do you tell it? He said, I just believe much bigger and much faster than anybody around me. Much bigger and much faster. I'm gonna leave you with this right here, and this will change your life because it absolutely changed my life. This is why personal development is so important. You ready? Are you guys ready for this?
Yes.
This right here is gonna change your life. And I got 10 minutes, and it's gonna take me 5, and I'll open it up for some Q&A.
You got actually like 20.
Oh, I still got more time? This right here, though, what I'm going to give you right here, changed my life. Y'all ready? If you're ready, say I'm ready.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Here we go. Thoughts are things. Yes?
Yes.
As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Now, I heard that my whole life. I grew up in the church. My mom brought me to church. I grew up around the church. I knew church. Wednesday night, Thursday night, Saturday night, all day Sunday. Man, I was like the building fund. I knew about the building fund. Some of y'all don't know about the building, but I do. It's like 30 years and you still haven't built a new building. Where the church dinner money going? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? So anyway, so watch this, going back to it. Thoughts are things, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. But the key is thoughts. My question to you all in the room is, where do your thoughts come from?
Good question.
Where do your thoughts come from? Because if you knew that and you studied that, that would be your key to the next. If thoughts are things, if as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. I need to know where thoughts come from. Say again?
Is it past conditioning and past programming?
It comes from that, but it's deeper. See, sometimes we know the fruit, which is the conditioning piece, but we got to get down to the root. Because if you know the root, man, it's over. So how many want to take one more stab at it? I give one more person a stab. Subconscious is good, but I got to go deeper. Because when I understood this piece, it was over.
Your heart.
That's almost there. But guess where your thoughts come from? Desires, but desires come from somewhere. Your thoughts come from your five senses. What you see, what you hear, what you taste, what you touch, what you smell. They also come from, yes, God, and again, because you are a spirit, you have a soul and you live in this body. But, and it is a spiritual warfare out there, so it comes from the enemy too. But the thoughts are basically what you see, hear, taste, touch, and smell. That's what programs your subconscious. So if I know that, see, when I knew that, I was like, oh, it's over. Oh, it's over. So now that means that I have to control 4 different items in my life. You guys ready? I have to control 4 items if I want to be wealthy beyond measure. These are the keys that govern wealth. If you master these keys right here, it's over. All of you guys in here will be millionaires upon millionaires upon millionaires. You won't be able to stop the money from coming. I promise you. I'm like, you ready? Number 1, your environment. Your environment. I'm gonna go through them, I'm gonna list them off, then I'm gonna tap into all 4 of them. Environment. Your experiences. Your experiences. The information that you take in as well. Information and associations. So a lot of times I'll start with the first one. I'll start from the top. So again, but if I know now, my thoughts come from my 5 senses primarily. My subconscious is being programmed by my 5 senses. Yes?
Yes.
Now what I have to do is I have to create an environment where everything that I see is speaking to my subconscious. Everything that I touch, everything that I'm smelling, it has to be. But what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing, really, right? They talk about ear gate and eye gate in the word, right? Your ear, guard your ears, guard your eyes, guard them. Why is it so important? Because they are programming your mind. They're programming, and these 2, heart and mind, are connected. You're unstoppable. So watch this. So what is in my house right now? I don't believe in a dream board. I believe in a dream environment. Right? A dream environment. So all over my house, I have a goal, and I'll say it to you all, is that, I say it like this. It says, congratulations on Reveal Global Consulting becoming a $2.5 billion company in December of 2018. All right? It says it in my home. When I'm walking downstairs, when I'm in the mirror, when I'm in my office, every single place. Isn't isn't it in the house, Junior? That's right. 2.5 billion. We're swimming in a golden stream of income. My Junior? Look at Junior. So the key is that the environment is key. We heard it. You're a product of your environment. So what pictures, if I went into your house tonight, would I know that you were a Primerica representative? Would I know what your goals are in 2017? Without you saying a word, would I know where your family is going based on the visions that you have around your home? Would I be able to tell? Now I want you to answer honestly. How many would I be able to walk in without you opening your mouth, but I just would be able to open my eyes and I can see where you're going by show of hands? Be honest. That's good. That's a good. I'm glad you're being honest, because remember, awareness, then accepting. So if you're lying, you're not really accepting it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The truth will set you free. So be honest with yourself, because that's the number one thing. Once you accept it, and you cannot conquer what you're not willing to confront. You can't conquer what you're not willing to confront. So you have to accept it. And so the next thing is that experience. The fastest way to accelerate your belief is through experience. So guess what me and my friends do now? Like Caleb, and some of y'all on my Facebook, so y'all kind of see. But I don't know, you with Facebook, I'm a Facebook friend of yours, yes? So a couple of months ago, friends of mine, we went to Sterling, Virginia, and we went and test drove the Rolls Royce Wraith, the Rolls Royce Dawn, and the Ghost. And we actually got to test drive the Phantom, right? And so that was creating an experience. So you can create your own experience in whatever way you would like, right? So whether it be going to the neighborhood, whether it be even going, sometimes I'll go into the most poverty-stricken neighborhood, and I'll create an experience. And I'll close my eyes. I'll first open my eyes, look at all the kids that are there that I see that are really not living to their full potential. And I just close my eyes and I just imagine with resources, with people, with environment, what that could do to shape and change the community. And I'll picture a community like just on another level, because I understand it really starts with education and philosophy, right? So I use my imagination. Imagination plus vision equals reality. You have to create an experience in your mind. You gotta go there, here, before you ever get there in the physical. Does that make sense? You have to create experiences in your mind of where it is that you're going. When we were little kids, we had the vivid imagination. We knew exactly where we wanted to go. We knew exactly what kind of car we had. We wanted to drive. Remember? Ferrari, Lamborghini. Now, you got older and you settled for a Focus. Why is that? Because of conditioning. You've bought into the opinions of society that told you, they made those cars for you. They made those houses for you. They made those exotic resorts for you. They made them for you. But you got to believe that it's for you. And you have to start to experience it before you get there. I used to dream about Bora Bora in 2006. In 2015, it manifested, right? But it took work though, believe me. And I'm gonna go into that in a moment, since I do have about 10 more minutes. And so, information. If I went into your car right now, and many people can attest to this, I used to drive around with about 3 booklets of CDs, all personal development. Personal development. I mean, Drive Time University. My vehicle was like a university for me. It was where I grew the most. It was where I developed the most. I would just always, faith comes by what? Here. And I would just continually pour into myself, develop myself, continually say, listen, Ryan, what is it that you want to manifest? If you, listen, I knew that Ludacris, P. Diddy, all those guys, not that I wouldn't listen to those guys, but I knew I had to overload if I wanted to take my life to another dimension. I have to overload because I had to reprogram my RAS. Right? That RAS is like that executive secretary. When you go into a building, how many go in to do group calls into companies? Anybody do group calls or go into companies at all? Nobody?
Yeah. Companies.
You go into companies?
Yeah.
Right, then you got that they call them the what? The gatekeeper.
Yeah.
The person there.
Yeah.
That's what your subconscious is. When you tell yourself, I want to make $1 million a year, but you don't really believe it because you haven't worked on yourself through information, that executive or secretary, that gatekeeper, which is your subconscious, said, nah, you ain't serious. And you never go out and do the activity. You never go out and do the work necessary to manifest those dreams. Right? What I'm doing, and I'll go to this, but you have to work on yourself through information. 10 pages of a good book a day, 30 minutes of audio, at a minimum.
Right.
At a minimum. You will separate yourself from every single person in the company if you do that consistently. Remember, it's simple disciplines over simple errors in judgment. Discipline weighs ounces, but regret weighs pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That was it right there.
The pain of sacrifice is easier than the pain of regret. So you got to know that discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishments. Discipline. That's the bridge. So the environment you're creating, the experiences, the information, and finally, the association. Listen, either somebody's stretching your dream, either somebody's stretching your vision, or they're choking your dreams. There is no in between.
That's right.
Either someone is stretching your vision or they're choking your dreams. There is no in between. Either they're helping you or they're hurting you. Sometimes you got to be willing to give up someone for a certain period of time in order to go up. You got to be willing to sell out sometimes in order to go back and help out. Does that make sense? You can't be afraid. You can't be afraid of wanting to be accepted and validated by other people, so much so that you remain in the very same state that you're in today. Because your fear of being rejected, or your fear of being alone, or your fear of, or your hope, of wanting to be validated by someone. You want to be validated. You've already validated. Do you know that your heart beats 100,000 times every single day without any single, 100,000 times a day your heart beats, and without nobody's permission? You think you're controlling that? You have 60,000 blood vessels that go around your body that could wrap around the earth twice. What do you think created that? Not you. Do you know that you're breathing every single day, your breath's over 100,000 times daily without you even thinking about it? Do you know how blessed you are that you do not need validation from anybody? That you are all in this room, kings and queens? That you have to walk into your God-given destiny and your anointing and not care about what no one else has to say about it? You have to know that you're the combined average of the 5 people you associate with the most. Show me your 5 closest friends and I'll show you who you are. Really, show me 4, because the 5th one is you. You talk to you more than anybody else talks to you. You. Does that make sense, Rachel?
Yep.
You. So those are the 4 things that I learned how to be able to control. Because I remember 2 things I control in my life: my attitude and my activity. That's it. So if I knew that my 5 senses was the programming device, the program mechanism, then I knew I had to shape my environment. I had to create more experiences. I had to make sure that I was putting in the right information and that I was surrounding myself with the right associations. Is everyone with me on that?
Yeah.
Very, very, very important. Extremely important that you all really embrace that message and allow yourselves to say, man, if I go out, I left with some tools, because it's one thing for somebody to try to inspire you with their story, but it's another thing for somebody to share their story, but give you tools that you can use to leave out of this place and make a difference in your life. I don't just want you to say I sounded good because I had a couple phrases and philosophies and some truths that I spoke to you tonight. I want to make sure that you leave out and make it applicable into your life. How many folks are ready to go out and apply what's been heard tonight? Right? Because knowledge is not power. You guys know that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody told you that your whole life. Knowledge is power. That's not true. Applied knowledge is power. Practice is what? Practice makes what?
Perfect.
No, that's not true. Perfect practice makes perfect.
That's right.
A lot of folks that do the wrong thing their entire life, practicing the wrong thing.
That's right.
And they never create the results that they desire. And I'll end with this. Please, guys, the number one thing that you have to make sure that you're doing is not chasing money. That's when I went from 6 to 7 figures. The number one thing that I changed was not chasing money. I started to solve problems. I started to bring value to the marketplace. It no longer was about me anymore. It was about who I can serve. It was about what customers I can serve, about how I can help somebody with their challenges, with their pain points, how I can really bring value to the market. Because you can make 6 figures if it's about you, but it's hard to get to 7 figures unless you forget about yourself, die to yourself, let the ego go, let the pride go, and start really going out and saying, I want to serve other people. I want to make other people better. I want to be a champion for you, and I want to live in abundance. I don't want to live in lack and competition. I want to live in completion, because there's abundance out there, and you can all have it, but you first have to make sure that you're solving problems, right? You're solving problems, and you're not chasing money, but chase problems, and you'll never have to chase money another day of your life. That's it for me tonight. If you have any questions, I'll entertain those at this time.
Got about 5 minutes, guys, so ask whatever you know.
Go right ahead.
The only thing that the 30 minutes audio, say 10 pages.
10 pages of a good book, of a positive book.
What is like the top 5 books that you recommend?
Top 5 books? Man. So I'm always expanding, so.
What were like the turnkey books in your life?
Oh, okay, now that's a better question. Because if my top 5 then is not my top 5 now. Because I'm at a different level in my life, but I would say definitely Think and Grow Rich. I would say The Dream Giver by Bruce Wilkins. I would say Who Moved My Cheese? It's a good book, short but powerful. One of the books that taught me how to not just create wealth, but retain my wealth was Richest Man in Babylon.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna give you a bonus. I'm gonna say the How to Win Friends and Influence People, but the #1 book that taught me leadership and how to develop leaders was 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John C. Maxwell. So that was my bonus, but those books right there were my pillars, if you will, that I even today, and oh man, As a Man Thinketh, I gotta give you that too, by James Allen. But those books there were my foundational books that just really helped me to create that breakthrough for me in my life.
What are you reading right now?
I'm reading a book called The Code of the Extraordinary Mind. It really teaches you about how to break out of that rags. The Code of the Extraordinary Mind. I'm also reading the book, and this thing right here is powerful to let you know who you are inside. This thing called life. Ernest Holmes. It's something Ernest. I forget the author, but this thing called life blew me away. Those are the books, and then I'm almost finished with that. This thing called life, and I just picked up a book that I'm gonna start tomorrow. It's called Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek. Yeah, leaders eat last, because you got in life, and I learned this a long time ago. You got to be #1 at being #2 if you want to win. You got to be #1 at being #2. Go ahead, I'll turn it. Go ahead.
Recently, I came across an idea.
Oh, she wanted me to tell you, I'm 33 years old.
Oh.
Forgot you wanted me to say that. 33.
I said you were 35, my bad.
33.
Recently, I came across an idea that I felt really passionate about, and I actually stayed up all night writing a business plan for like 10 hours. And I went to my university, and everybody in my university is like backing me up on it, and even bringing me to this program that's gonna help me build this business. And it's a competition for like young people who want to build a business that will help not only myself but everybody around me, everybody who's in debt and needs help. And that I'd love to share that idea with you sometime if you're ever free.
Yeah, of course, man. No, it's always, listen, the most expensive thing is a closed mind. I'm always open. Please.
I'm guessing you have a lot of different mentors in life. So how often do you continue to meet with your mentors, and how often?
I have coaches. I have very few mentors. So I have coaches. Coaches is somebody that specifically helps you in your field. Mentor is somebody that really knows personally. Mentoring is touring someone's lives, the good and the bad. Or men touring each other's lives, I heard, the good and the bad. But my mentor, I have really one mentor in my life right now, and I talk to him every day. For at least, if I don't talk to him every day, 6 days a week. And it's, even if it's just to say that I love him, that's it. My mentor is a phenomenal guy that changed my life in terms of my thinking, that really helped me. Now, the reason why I can dream about being a billionaire before I'm 40 is because he taught me how to solve problems first. And so that's it. So to answer your question, you have coaches that you probably can speak to once a week. You really don't need to speak to a coach who's like in your particular field, but maybe once a week, to really just do a plan, do a review session. To say, okay, this is what I set out on Sunday. This is what I did by Saturday. This is my ratio in terms of my prospecting and presentations or whatnot. This is what I experienced. How can I get better? And you go to your coach, and your coach should be able to share with you once a week, if you're doing the activity, how to get better based off what you're sharing from your activity. But obviously, the coach can only work with you, you give them something to work with. Does that make sense? So, but I want to give you that. So, again, mentor and coach, I want to make sure that I share what that distinction is, because it's important. All right, we got two more. Go ahead.
Do you work out?
Oh, yeah.
How often do you work out?
Honestly, man, I work out about 3 days a week, honestly. I would love to be like you and say 7. I would love to say 7 like you, but 3 days, man. And now I am shifting though, and I'm making it a 5-day habit. The way I'm doing that is I actually have my trainer come to my home. So I can't run away from him come to my house, right? I believe in that though. You have to make sure in order to be at a peak state, you have to work out, you have to be in order to accomplish your goals, you have to make sure your health is in order. And I truly believe that, again, you have 3 beings: spiritual man, soulish man, and the physical man. And your physical man has to be in tip-top shape for you to be able to accomplish those goals. Because again, I do sometimes 18-hour days, man, and you gotta be ready for those days. But go ahead.
How do you make proper use of the imagination? Because in the beginning, everyone talks about they use the imagination to see it before it happens in their mind's eye. In the beginning, it sounds like, an abstract idea. So can you elaborate on that a little bit? Like how?
Are you married or single?
Single.
You ever met a girl walking down the street and you just started imagining yourself?
See?
You used it, didn't you? Yeah. That night? Yeah. So what I'm saying is, we use a no.
Yourself in the room.
No, he understands. You see the girl, she like, you come home all the time, daddy, this girl told me I was cute. Right? So what I'm sharing with you is, brother, you use your imagination all the time. The key is now that you're aware that you're using it all the time, to use it now to benefit you in a positive way and to impact you. Because we use it. It's just, what are we using it for? We got to make sure that we're guiding our energy in the right direction, right? Because you can't change your destination overnight, right? But you can change your what? Your direction. And so it's important. It's important that you got it, bro. Trust me. You have it. You have it. You just have to be able to exercise it, just like a muscle. When you're working out in the gym, your imagination is a muscle.
Well, how do you imagine something you've never experienced before?
Oh my God. That's why you have to make sure you put yourself in the environments too. So I subscribe to a magazine called The Rob Report.
Yeah, we get those all the time. They give them as gifts for us.
Right.
Yeah.
So now I experienced it. I may have not experienced it in the physical, but my eye, remember, my ear gate, my eye, right? I've now experienced it, the Rob Report, right? That's right, man. This is it. So this is how I experienced things before. This how now I have a picture. I can now start imagining myself inside of the vehicle, or inside at the resort, or at the hotel. So that's pictures, man. The mind thinks in pictures and not in words. Man, in life, you don't get what you want, you get what you picture.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. If you could just remember that, you don't get in life what you want, you get what you picture. So that's it.
don't understand is the road to your wealth to 6, 7, on basically building an 8-figure business.
No, that's not it.
wasn't a certain tip or a certain referral or a certain presentation. It was all this self-development. I mean, that is the key to your wealth.
Base hits.
It was everything you gave us today. Like the
Basics.
self-development was the key to the wealth.
Everybody always want to hit a home run. It's
Right.
not about home runs, it's about base hits. I made it to first base by reading 10 pages.
Right.
I made it to second base by listening to audio. Wow, I did a presentation. Wow, I might have got a triple. Somebody said yes. Oh man, great. Now I read tomorrow, another base hit. Now I advanced myself to home. Base hits. It's just simple discipline versus simple error and judgment. If you read The Slight Edge, you read that book? The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson.
Yep.
It's just like this. It's like a person that's reading a book. It's like you're reading the book. The person that doesn't, you don't see no difference in that person. Month 1, month 2, month 3. The person that's eating healthy, you don't see a difference in a month 1, month 2, month 3. But man, it's just like this. It just start going like this. And then that person 5 years from now is wealthy. The other person that isn't is saying to himself, man, what happened? I'm mad. One person says, I'm glad I did, and one person said, I wish I did. I wish I could go back in time and change. But no matter where you are, no matter how old you are, you can start tomorrow. I just have to say that. You can start tomorrow. I don't care how old you are. You could start tomorrow and shift your life by just changing direction and just disciplines and being obsessive about it. A lot of people are obsessive about a football team that don't pay you not a dime. And I tell my wife all the time, Eagle, she be, why y'all rushing to go home for what? For what? What is that guy paying you? Listen. Remember this, and I'm going to share this. And I got so much in my head from this stuff because I lived it. But television is an electronic income reducer. Until you're making $20,000 a month, you really need to monitor how much television you watch. All right? Stop watching other people tell their vision on television. Does that make sense? And you go out and create your own vision. Manifest your vision. Transform some lives. Make an impact. And I promise you, you know, we're gonna see you where you're supposed to be, and that's at the bank, because you're cashing checks, right? Like my girl back here, Rachel.
Yeah.
So I'm in. I don't want to keep going because this, you know.
Well, thank you,
Appreciate
Ryan.
you. Thank you.
You got one more?
One more, the 2 habits that you do every day, your top 2.
Man, I would say meditation and prayer, which is all I do that together. You got to be able to focus on breathing, because that's part of meditation. That's all, and then because that lets you get your center, and then prayer, is just really I go into gratitude, honestly. And then the next habit, the most important habit, and I know you might get mad at me back there, Mr. Workout, but I gotta work on my mind. I gotta be, whether I'm in the Word or whether I'm reading a book, I have to read something daily. Because if you're not growing, you're dying. If you're not ripening, you're rotting. There is no in the middle. You don't, there's no, man, I'm at 7 figures. Or, yeah, I'm at 7 figures, and or, you know, me and my wife, we're now getting to that where we can say, man, we can see where 8 figures can happen. Wow, man, I could stop. Man, the day you stop is the day you're going back. When you start reading your own press, that's when you gotta make sure you always check yourself at the door and say, what day I feel like I know, the day I feel like I knew something, I realized I knew nothing. That's why you gotta keep growing. But anyway, that's it. I'll turn it over.
Thank Anyway, guys, I hope that was helpful. I told you, Entrepreneur Month, man, Ryan would light us up. He just got back from Tony Robbins in California, so he was on fire too. So we just appreciate him taking the time. He just flew back from California yesterday to speak with us. So But yeah, he might hang around a minute or so if you wanna chat with him, but, we'll see you Saturday, alright?